and welcome back to Simian Jimmy's Treehouse Podcast. I am Simian Jimmy, joined as always by Eggy Eggman Rodriguez. Woo! And
fresh off that
a little
paella.
Oh, you had some paella today. I think I missed that part. Eggy, I think last time we were sitting in these seats recording this show, we tried a challenge out of respect for George Floyd. May he rest in peace. Mm-hmm. Every 8 minutes, 46 seconds, we took some sort of shot of some kind of alcohol.
It was Fireball, if I remember.
I do not remember. That's my point.
Okay.
My question is, we're recording this on 420. We're releasing this on 420.
Okay, right.
Is there something else we should be doing every 8 minutes and 46 seconds on this date, Eggy?
Well, there's something I could certainly think of. Playing Doom is a big celebration on 420. There was a lot of Doom players that really, did a lot of things on 420, but at the same time, I'm not in Colorado, so basically I just don't know really what else I can do.
Eggy, here's the thing, though. Everybody knows I live in a 300-square-foot trailer. It's basically a camper. We could attach this to your $200 car and drive to the border. Actually, that's what we did this morning. We are currently parked on the side of the road.
Well, I think it's that paella put me into a food coma, and I fell asleep, but only, my brain just kind of dimmed like a light switch. But now that I think about it,
I think our cats are fighting in the background. I'm going to let one of them out.
Yeah, go let them off on the side of the road. I think it's safe out there.
Yeah, come on, Blaze. Get out of here. Okay.
Hey, it's hard. You don't want to, leave the cats out from a vacation, but, hey.
Well, speaking of vacation, Eggy came all the way down here on his few days off from the salt mines, I assume, on
sometimes we get to switch up to the diamond mines, but I got weak hands. I don't work 85 hours a day like that TikTok guy does, so I had to go back to the salt mine.
Well, Eggy, is it true? On the way here, you evidently were encountered by some sort of schizophrenic man who wanted to... I didn't hear the full story. I said save it for the podcast. So what the fuck happened?
Well, I think this guy, he was trying to sell maybe his mother's earring or something. I don't know. He was, I went and I stopped at this truck stop, which has no relation to my work, by the way. And there was a guy, and it looked like when I saw him, he was kind of jittery. It looked like he was, rolling a blunt at the side of, because he was kind of going like this.
Like a little rat?
Yeah. And he had a 93X, which is, I think it's a Minnesota, rock station, sweatshirt on. Anyways, so I kind of walked up. I'm like, damn, this guy, rolling a blunt right here on the side of the building here. And no, he was polishing this earring or whatever, which he immediately made a very strong indication to show me, because I think that he wanted to sell it to me.
You look like a man who would buy a polished earring.
Well, it was I think actually, I don't know. I don't think it was, I think it was like a pin you'd put in a jacket or something, because it had this long thing that didn't look like it was going to go in your ear. And it was the design of it was strange, but it would look like it was gold and diamond. But anyway, yeah, he was really excited about it, and he really felt like his life was about to turn around as soon as he could sell this jewelry. But that wasn't all. This guy, no, he really had a lot of dreams. He said that he was waiting to meet the president.
How long were you talking to this guy?
I think it went on for about 20 minutes. Because he wanted to meet the president because he said he taught a 3-year-old how to drive a car. And he said that he taught a 7-year-old to teach a 3-year-old to drive a car. So what's more than just this 45-year-old man teaching a 3-year-old to drive a car, he also could teach a 7-year-old to teach a 3-year-old how to drive a car.
Right. He's not just giving a fish to a 3-year-old. He's teaching a 7-year-old how to fish so that he can teach the other 3-year-olds. I think he might know the future. Why do we have all of these teachers teaching these kids? Don't kids speak each other's language better? I think all schools should be taught by 7-year-olds. Mr. Enter had it right. Growing around makes perfect sense. And,
and what else is growing around is so this guy actually also indicated to me he actually was there with his girlfriend. So this guy.
Did you see her with your own eyes?
I think so, because there was a woman who appeared to be on a lot of drugs. That was I think
my kind of lady. Is she single?
Well, here's
probably not based on the story.
Talking about growing around. Well, so this man who verbally indicated to me that he was 45 years old, he was there with who he verbally indicated to me was his 19-year-old girlfriend. Who she was walking around in what looked like underwear in the store, and I think she was trying to steal something because it seemed like they were just trying to get something to to get back on the road.
I think what you're trying to say is the story takes place in any town, USA.
Yeah. Any truck stop, USA.
This is the American dream personified. A 45-year-old cracked out man with the aspirations of teaching the youth and his sexy 19-year-old drugged out underwear model in the middle of the gas station girlfriend.
Well, there was a lot of what this man said to me didn't really make any sense. I think that he might have not been totally well, and his jaw, I've never seen, it resembled like a cow chewing cud, like the whole time, but it didn't sound like it wasn't muffled, but I think it's because the way he was talking was kind of talking in bursts like this. He's like, yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, like, I've seen a lot of things. When the president come in here and when I meet him, and I got a lot of ideas for him, and I just really need to talk. When I talk to him, he's gonna know, because man, I did everything.
Do you think he knows who the current president is? Did he say Joe Brandon at any point? He
didn't. He just said the president.
So he might be talking about the black one still, for all he knows.
You might be talking about the real winner, but we don't need to. YouTube algorithm doesn't need to catch up on that. But
this kitten loves trying to get crushed by my feet when I'm not looking. What's up, little buddy?
No, but speaking of growing around, he amongst the gibberish, he was like, yeah, my girl 19, and she's in there. Yeah, I mean, she's 19, and yeah, and I waited until she was, and I was like, well,
that's the part you don't say out loud, buddy. You keep that in your brain, dude.
Well, no, I don't know, because he's talking about 3-year-olds and 7-year-olds driving vehicles, and then he's kind of
he's waiting for them to turn 18 as well.
Well, I don't know if he was. Because, at first I thought the way that he was presenting it to me before the additional information or rambling, whatever you want to say, was coming from his mouth, it sounded like maybe he was talking about that he had, a 3- and 7-year-old child.
With the 19-year-old? Okay, I'm going to do some math on that one real quick, figure out how that worked out.
Yeah, there was a lot that I didn't quite understand, but... basically, yeah, following him talking about the 3-year-old and 7-year-old children driving cars, he then seemed to indicate to me that made them adults in his eyes.
If you can drive a car, sure, you're responsible enough.
And then he just kind of started rambling about, free love, vague free love statements about, man, a lot of us adults, I'm an adult, and man, I just don't even, sometimes I don't even know what's going on. So I think adults could be really, a lot of people could be adults, and I think really a lot of people could do a lot of things. And I'm like, that was where I'm kind of like, yeah, okay, I think that I don't want to be anywhere near you.
I think I'm catching on to a theme here.
I was like, he definitely looked like he could have shanked me at any second, because he just kind of had this intense look and was covered in dirt and was his jaws doing the hula hoop the whole time. So I thought for sure he could have he could have took that pin and started trying to give me a 2-inch poke.
Did you get this man's contact information so that you can meet up with him on your drive home?
No, I was hoping that they would either be leaving there
or dropping dead.
Because I stop and it's kind of like a routine for me to stop at this truck stop. So I'm like, I definitely could have. I think they were on enough meth that they could have still been there and awake the next day. So I was expecting that it was possible, but it also seemed like this woman was actively, publicly indecent and also stealing. So I thought, okay, well, the cops will probably be called and scare them off. And that did seem to be the case. I didn't see them there again, and I hope I don't, but
fingers crossed.
But hey, if I do, I'm sure he's gonna really update me on his plans with the president. I mean, after 2 weeks or whatever, he had to stop by at least once.
Yeah, Joe Brandon would not let somebody down. Well, it's been about 8 minutes 46 seconds. Should we bust out the wacky tobacco pipe? Oh man, I'm so stoned now. Oh man, what a crazy show we're doing.
I think there might be at least 3 doses right there.
I'm gonna start injecting weed.
Kind of sounds like Pop by the Sailor Man.
It sounds like a dying animal. Eggy, we were gifted from my dear brother Patchy. He randomly sent me a QR code, and it turns out, I thought that was the cat for a second. That's just your foot with the sock on it.
Cat is over sniffing inside of the wall.
That fucking baby. See this chair right here, my lazy boy. It's a rocking chair. And if you have a little baby kitten, buddy, don't be rocking in your chair, because he's going to be trying to crawl under to get his head crushed to fucking death. Oh my God, I almost had a heart attack the other day. That poor cat. But anyway, My brother sent me a QR code. I guess he somehow got exclusive tickets to a film premiere a week before it officially comes out, a movie for preteen girls called Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret, a film adaptation of a book by Judy Bloom. He sent me 2 free tickets to the, like I said, exclusive premiere showing a week before the movie comes out. Eggy and I went and saw that film last night because that's what we do. If a movie for a demographic that's not us comes out and it has a lot of sexualization on screen, you better believe Eggy and I are gonna be there. Bros comes out, movie not for us, we see it, chock full of sex, gay orgies, non-stop, wall-to-wall fucking monkeypox and AIDS in every scene. We go see this movie for preteen children thinking, okay, it's not our demographic, but it's a kid's film. What's the worst that could happen?
Listen, as a man who is old enough that I could have teenage children if I had ever, amounted to anything in life, then, I need to know what's going to be good to put on a selected, approved list of media for those hypothetical children to watch.
Just in case in 20 years you have kids, you need to watch every kid's movie to know if it's appropriate.
That's right.
Well, turns out this film, I would say skip it. If you're looking for an appropriate film for your children. I did a review on the SIMIAN Jimmy channel of a little Netflix film called Cuties, Eggy. Have you ever heard of it?
I heard that fuck sickos is what I've heard.
Yeah, this new movie, Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret. I swear to you, and none of you hopefully have seen Cuties and will have not seen this movie that's not out yet, so you cannot verify it. But trust me, Cuties and this new movie are carbon copies of each other in every conceivable way. I thought we were going to do an Izakino on this, but fuck it. I'm just going mask off right now on this movie. Exact same plot. Either the Cuties movie ripped off the book, or I don't know who stole from who, but it's the same exact shit. We start off, we got this girl moving to a new place, and she struggles with religion, and she struggles with joining a group of 4 preteen girls, and it's like the exact same character beats in both movies. The girls they're all preteens and they're teaching her, oh no, you gotta be focused on your titties, you gotta be focused on your pussy. And 80% of this movie is literal 11-year-olds just talking about their titties and pussy the whole time. And I really thought I was watching Cuties again. And I know people were upset with Cuties because of all those scenes where the cuties are dancing and shit. Is there any... This movie has just literal children dancing in their underwear. Like, who is this for? Who is this for, Eggy?
Well, I mean, yeah, definitely, I was like, I mean, I knew this movie was not for me. This movie should, if I could turn back time.
I feel like there's going to be a double standard because in terms of the content shown on screen of sexualizing children, Cuties and this go as far as each other. Like in Cuties, they're specifically trying to do like a dance competition and stuff. In this, like, there's no competition. They're just showing the same content anyway in a wholesome way. No, that just didn't work for me. I hope that this film receives the same outrage that Cuties did, but I just don't see it happening.
Have you ever heard a little story on a certain live stream called Chillin' about somebody named Bloody Mary? That's basically, that story is literally just this entire film. If that story, that 2-minute segment could be expanded to a full-length movie, obviously there's in no way, shape, or form am I anywhere near the target demographic for this film, but I also just can't imagine, like, if you're like a parent with a teenage daughter being like, oh yeah, I hear, this crude, like, just kind of off the mark depiction of these teenage girls.
Not even teenage, dude. We're talking prepubescent by definition. With like the plot of the film is that they're prepubescent. I might seem upset about this, but just the thought of being an 11-year-old kid and like, oh, I get to be in a movie. Oh, I'm gonna be in this kid's movie. It's being made by the company that makes The Simpsons. They got the fucking movie theater thing. And then you realize, oh, I have to show 90% of my skin as an 11-year-old in this movie that they're gonna just throw out there for everybody to see. And when we were reviewing the movie Irreversible, we were mocking a review that said, during the rape scene, I imagined some sick freak in the audience jerking off to it, and we were making fun of him. But I think that logic applies for this fucking shit. Like, don't put actual children actors on screen doing this shit, because there are sickos who are gonna fucking watch this movie and enjoy it. Unlike the fucking irreversible rape scene. But I might be off base here. I just think if you want to make material about this subject, a book is a good way to do it. Even a cartoon. Go Big Mouth all you want. I've never complained about Big Mouth. But when you're putting real human actors, real, literal, prepubescent children, making them do this stuff on screen, I don't care if it's supposed to be a cute kids movie. It's just, it's wrong. They shouldn't be fucking doing this to people.
2023. We know that Hollywood's full of sickos, and we need to stop enabling sickos and fuck sickos YouTube.
Yeah.
And also, I just want to say, so the beginning of this film, we don't know if this was for just the pre-screen or if it's going to be in all the regular theatrical release. But I think the Judy Bloom, I'm pretty sure that's her. That's at the beginning of the film, and she's basically spending 10 minutes reading her poem or whatever that inspired the book that inspired the movie. And the final, the grandmother, the Jewish grandmother, who's
Kathy
very devout,
Bates.
Who's very plays a prominent role in the film as like the guiding light for the main character Margaret. So based on Judy Bloom's real grandmother, and she's reading the poem about what her grandmother is looking for her to have in her future, and she goes, "Make sure you date a nice young Jewish man," and then Judy Bloom goes, "But why Jewish?" And then it like fades into black and starts the movie. So I thought that was really,
Yeah, the author's doing a reading of her own book, and she's laughing at all of the jokes that she wrote herself, I assume 40 years prior. And I'm just thinking, like, how conceited would I have to be if I, like, show up somewhere with, like, my own script from one of my videos, and I'm, like, laughing hysterically at my own jokes as I'm reading them? Like, lady, the material in your book, like, the best joke you have is that somebody doesn't want to live in New Jersey. Like, the most played out, stereotypical fucking joke, a joke that probably was stale when New Jersey was founded in the fucking, 1800s? I don't even know when.
Yeah, see, basically it would kind of, because I could laugh at my own material, but it would be sort of like coming back to, like, Trollface, Kekistan in, like, 2050 and being like, this right here, you kids don't even know about this. This is genius right here.
Mm-hmm. But she's like, reading a joke that I've heard 100 times and laughing at it like she's this brilliant author. So, Judy Bloom, if you're watching, you're a little conceited for my taste, you old rich bitch, okay? Stop making pedophile movies, for fuck's sake. Okay, it's time for another hit on our doobie. There. Okay, we're good. I went on my my incel rant, and the thing is, I'm not even like a hardcore conservative. When everybody's freaking out about Cuties, I thought it was all good and fun. And am I out of character here, Eggy, or was this movie objectionable?
I didn't really get anything out of it at all. It's like I said, it was essentially just like and there is actually a portion of the film, there's a scene where they're watching, like a sex ed video or whatever.
There's a portion where they're looking at pornography.
Well, that's true, yeah.
There's a whole scene where the girl's like, oh yeah, my dad has a prescription for a magazine of porn, because this takes place in 1970. Like, the whole family just knows that the dad has a porn addiction. The little girl goes and gets the porn mag, and there's a whole scene of these children looking at porn together.
Well, I should say one of the other, like, key plot points or whatever throughout the film is that, the main character is the child of a Jewish man and a European woman, and
Jewish people can't be European?
Well, I'm just saying, I'm respecting the homeland. That's called Israel. Okay, so the mother of the main character, her parents disowned her for marrying a Jewish man, and and that's obviously really terrible, of course. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the main character's like, how should we look as women when we grow up? Well, let's go to my dad's huge mountain of Playboy magazines under his bed. And I'm like, mother bros, I don't feel so good. Why is the husband, looking at tons of porn all day and not, leaves his wife totally neglected? He's out working at some job like 18 hours a day and is never around and just pays her no mind. I don't know. Seems like it's not a very healthy family relationship, but...
well, I'm wondering, because we're not from the 70s, Eggy. I don't know how old you are specifically.
Yeah, I'm kind of close, but...
But has the culture on porn acceptableness changed? Because I feel like in the modern day, porn is everybody's private shame, right? We're not going around bragging about our Playboy subscription to everybody. But this entire family, including the children, knew not only that he got the magazine, but where he kept it. And it's like not even an open secret. They're just fine with it. Is that how it used to be? Have things changed? Did men used to proudly proclaim that they love porn and they just their whole family gets to know about it?
I don't know. I mean, I don't see why anybody in this film would have a reason to want to manipulate the past into a more acceptable lens of what our culture is more in line with in 2023. I have no idea why anybody would want to do that, but...
I can think of a few reasons why.
So, from my understanding, this film may not be historically accurate,
In terms of the attitudes on family consumption of pornography, maybe 1970s weren't that hippy-dippy, but I don't know.
They sure love dancing to those vinyls of popular songs that we still know about, 50 years later from that are very recognizable.
Yeah, I'm glad only the good songs survived this long. Should we move on? We got like a million Patreon questions.
Yeah. So my final review is, don't just skip this film.
There's no need. I said if you have small children, I guess drop them off at the theater. You don't need to see this one. It reminded. I'm not allowed to say the name of this, but there is a certain movie franchise about perhaps a wimpier young man who writes a journal, and in one of the movies, there's a whole scene where he's running around his grandparents' retirement complex in his tighty-whities, like the smallest underwear they could find. And the filmmakers are like getting extreme close-ups of his entire naked body and like panning across it, like on his fucking crotch and shit. Like, what? Why are we letting children be in movies that the comedy is that the child is naked? Why does this keep fucking happening?
Well, I mean... I don't support any of it. I feel like in the last, 60 or so years, I feel like Americans have become a little bit more sickened. Like they kind of have been leaning more towards the sicko mindset. Whereas,
think of the movie Bros. In Bros, they have a whole dinner scene saying, "I want small children to see naked men." Like, why do we keep seeing these movies by accident that are trying to push this shit on us?
I don't know. I'm starting to think Hollywood might be not on the level.
No.
They might be committing some criminal activity.
Every movie that comes out, we should have to screen it and see if it passes the sicko meter test. And like, oh, sorry, that movie's got to go. Yep. Throw it in the inferno.
We can go steal the moist meter from that critical guy. We're gonna have the sicko meter.
This
new podcast idea. All right, here. This is the new first episode of the sicko meter. The shorts form to start us off here. Are you there, God? It's me, Margaret. Thinking
80% sicko meter.
Yep.
80% sicko. Skip it. Okay. Usually I'm disappointed in my Patreon Discord because they never ask any questions, but I did an @everyone and said, hey, Eggy's coming over, let's do some questions. And it looks like you guys actually asked something. I got some egg-based jokes to start off. Ami wants to know, how many eggs do you need to break to make an omelet?
For me personally, I'm a big boy. I like a lot of surface area in my omelet so I can fold a lot of toppings and ingredients into it. For me, it's the 4-egg omelet.
It seems like a big breakfast. I'm not really an omelet guy. I just make 2 hard-boiled eggs and I call it a day. All that cheese and stuff, I don't know. Is that the best way to start your morning off?
Well, see, I like to... it's like a taco omelet. Mm-hmm. I don't know. There's something about like fresh pico de gallo or like some fresh salsa. I like to do homemade salsa. And then just you get some cheese, maybe a little bit of like spicy sausage. So I think you can get like a hot Jimmy Dean breakfast sausage. You put that in there, hit it with some of that fresh pico or some fresh salsa, a little bit of cheese, a little sour cream. I don't know. For me, it's a very tasty omelet.
Sounds good. And 4 eggs. There you go, Ami. Notorious Pig wants to know, how do you respond to the allegations that you are an egg white nationalist? Are yolk not welcomed in your country?
Listen, the yolk, they really make up the heart of this nation. Some might say that we wouldn't even have a birth of a nation if it wasn't for the egg yolk.
True. They did build it up.
You know, and I've had a lot of allegations. People are coming to me with notepads and pens, and they're saying, what came first, the chicken or the egg? You know, and the scientists, they're saying that dinosaurs and chickens are related. We don't even know if there was dinosaurs. I wasn't there.
Never.
But I've seen chickens, and I've seen eggs. Therefore, I said, you know what? Praise be to Almighty Lord. He blessed us with the chicken and the egg. God is good. God is great.
Simultaneously? So they both arrived at the same time?
I don't see why not. Noah's Ark. I wasn't there, but, you know, I think the next flood is on the way.
And finally, is it true that you're half egg, half man? From Mr. Coffee.
Well, as you can see, people at work, so I think some of them are following the Treehouse channel, but I know more of them are following the Simian Jimmy channel. They got, like, they saw me in, like, the Wings of Redemption video or whatever. Whenever some of these people that I work with, they heard about this Eggy nickname, they're like, it works. They're like, oh, yeah, I see it.
It clicks in their brain immediately, like, oh, yeah, of course he's called Eggy.
They also say that I have the body proportions of Dr. Eggman with long, thin legs. And I'm like, well, actually, if you look up, like, severe alcoholic body shape, that also kind of comes up because you like your limbs start wasting away while your like organs are swelling, but it is what it is, YouTube.
So that's a yes to half egg, half man.
I'm gonna say yes.
Half egg, half alcohol, really, it sounds like. And soon to be half weed, you know, happy 420, folks. Okay, here's a real question now. From James Hyphen. I think he has a plan to fix America here. Would it be more effective to arm the working class with firearms or fentanyl in order to overthrow the oppressive cop regime? Have you seen that cops are like terrified of fentanyl and like they think if they come within 3 feet of it, they're gonna immediately George Floyd and fucking die?
I have seen that. Well, I feel like you know, bio weapons. I feel like they, you know, what's a good
acid?
Well, it's sort of like you know, some people when they grill a steak or they fry a steak, they will put a little oil on the meat and just, you know, sear the sides like that. Me, I'm more of a put the oil in the pan and kind of give it a swish around. I feel like that's a good firearms and bioweapons. You know, a firearm, you just kind of, it's a single application. You know, the bioweapon, the grease is splattering. It might be, you know, a little bit of this splashing all over the place. So, but you're gonna, you know, maybe get a few more steaks out of your pan, so to speak.
Okay, so
yes, I'm thinking that I think that fentanyl would is collapsing society, and if there was the greater amount of fentanyl, the greater the amount of chaos and civilizational destruction would incur.
Well, it sounds like fentanyl is a real fun trip, and it's very enjoyable. I looked at some records. It turns out George Floyd, very high IQ, very intelligent man, and if even he could not resist the siren song of delicious fentanyl, does the average American stand a chance? I would be willing to bet the average working class American is less intelligent than George Floyd, surely. If we give them all this great weapon against the police, will we not also fall victim to it ourselves?
Well,
give a man a gun, he's not going to shoot himself. Give me fentanyl.
Well, depends on.
I don't know if you snort it, but that's what I would do with it.
Depends on your prior mental health record, I think, on that first one, because some men, they might not be able to get one put in their hands. But you know what? You go hang out in this beautiful state. It's called Mexico. You know, I think
the state of Mexico. The state of Mexico is not very good if you really think about it.
A couple Minecraft block-shaped packages might be put in your hands, and a nice man in a ski mask might put a gun to your head and make you walk across that border. And then welcome to the land of the free for you and me.
So James, I hope you're satisfied with our answer.
So yeah, fentanyl is my answer, by the way.
I'm gonna go with the guns. I think everybody with a gun is funnier because I mean, cops are scared of both. Cops are scared of 9-year-old children at this point, so really anything can scare them.
Hey, listen, you know, that 3-year-old, he had a squirt gun. There's nothing else
the cop did not want to get wet. It was dry clean only on his uniform. Fuck that kid.
The 300-pound, 5-foot-tall female cop with dual automatic pistols, just, you know, like something out of cheat code.
Okay, I've had this one before. I've probably had this one with you before, but
okay.
Coeth wants to know. Basically, your mom and girlfriend switch bodies, and you can only switch them back by fucking one of them. Which one do you fuck? I mean, it's pretty clear to me I'm gonna fuck the one with my girlfriend's body. I mean, it's not even a fucking question. If my mom's brain is in there, that's gonna be her problem. I'm just looking at the titties at this point, so... Who's gonna answer, oh yeah, I'll fuck my mom's body? Who would say that, Eggy? Now, please give me your answer.
I mean, yeah, basically, you know, I mean, I've never met a woman who really, you know, they're also flaky. They're just gone after a couple nights. Type of deal. True. They're gone after about 45 minutes, and when they pick the money up off the dresser. So basically, I mean, it's really no question. It would definitely have to be the mother's body and the girlfriend's mind.
What? What do you mean? Definitely? Why? Why?
You know, I'll bear that mental scar. I'm not gonna inflict that mental trauma.
What?
If I inflict it on, you know, on the girl, the lady of the night or whatever, boom, you know, she's seen worse or whatever, you know.
Yeah. Yes, I guess that's fair. I'm not gonna pry too much, Eggy. I'll accept your answer. Given the chance to, how would you edit your Encyclopedia Dramatica page? I probably wouldn't. I didn't even know I was on that one. I know I'm on Kiwi Farms. Are we on ED, Eggy? We got that erectile dysfunction?
I haven't never, I have one of the big pages on Incel Wiki, but I'm not on ED as far as I know. But, you know, I will say, I don't really browse ED pages, but they also carry that very, like, I guess I want to say late early internet, so I'm talking about, like, at the end of the aughts. You know, which is not like early internet, but compared to now, it's just got a certain charm to it, and I feel like they've been able to carry that charm through their manner of speaking. It hasn't adopted to the new bussin' TikTok hype, etc.
Well, when you see a hyperlink in an article for the phrase next Thursday, are you just like laughing your fucking ass off, like bent over? Oh, they said it. Oh, that funny meme. Next Thursday. Some of those 2000s jokes are not that funny.
Listen, you know, when you do over 9,000 heroes,
yeah.
You're right. Yeah, you know, that was my heyday. You know, for an elderly man such as myself, that's what I appreciate. It is what it is.
Well, I guess if I could edit my page, I would take off any reference to unfunny jokes like next Thursday or any other meme that just was never funny to begin with. But Encyclopedia Dramatica, I used to be a big fan of that in high school. We used to go on the offended page all the time and see who could make it to the bottom. Lots of fun. There was a page for swap.avi, which is like a 20-minute foursome of lesbian scat porn, and I made a reaction video with my friends to that. And on the Encyclopedia Dramatica page for swap.avi, I linked our YouTube video and I put it like in the article. And as far as I know, it's been there for 12 years, and I got like thousands of views from ED on that video back in the day.
Right.
So, you know, long history with that website, and I guess I'm a fan other than their shitty memes. Taffy says, how many guys have you ever seen that you would be like, yep, I'd hit that? Really? The first thing that comes to mind is Jake Gyllenhaal for me, and that's it. Is there any man out there that tempts your desires, Eggy?
I have never in my entire life ever felt that way at all, and
that's
I don't
fair.
know.
That's fair.
It's just
not even Biggs when you met Biggs, because I cannot resist them. What about my brother? You saw my brother, right?
Well, you know, there's men have charisma where it's sort of like a, you know, oh, this guy's great to tell stories with or listen to what he has to say, or, you know, he's got interesting hobbies or whatever. For men, it's like, you know, you want to be around them just because they're just interesting and personable, and, you know, they're going to give you some fresh ideas about life.
So you're more of a sapiosexual when it comes to men.
I just, you know, I enjoy, you know, thinking. I'm a free thinker.
That's what I'm saying.
When there's that thought-provoking material, which is probably why I just never seem to be having women around too much, just because, you know, I mean, I don't know. It's like, hey, you got that body going on. All right, that's nice. And there's nothing going on in your head. And really, frankly, it's just like, I feel myself wasting away to have to listen to talking about buying dresses or whatever women do, you know, talking about just social media and Facebook likes and things like that. It's like, I just don't know.
So the question is, have you ever seen a man you were attracted to? And your answer is, I don't think women have much going on in their brain.
I'm saying, you know, I've never felt physically inclined towards a man in my life.
That's fair. I'm not offended, Eggy.
And
It's
unfortunately,
okay.
I've never been too mentally inclined towards what women are talking about. But I think that's just I'm just still waiting for the right one to really mesh with my very normal interests and habits that I have.
I think transgenderism might be the answer. You need the brain of a man with the body of a woman. I think we figured this one out. Toot, hit us up. And you might be the opposite. I didn't think too hard about that.
As Sam Hyde said in that one really famous video, he said, "You're not looking for a girlfriend. You're looking for an autistic man." And I'm not looking for an autistic man. Just to clarify, I'm just I'm looking for a woman who's into classic literature. She might have,
Like Mein Kampf?
Well, listen, I don't know where you could draw the line on vintage.
He doesn't say no.
See, when I go to the antique bookstore, I look for things 50s and before, just because I don't know. You start getting these hippies in the picture.
It was a better time.
I'm not trying to read from some maniac that smokes marijuana. I mean, listen, once somebody's smoking marijuana, it's like nothing they have to say is ever going to have merit to me.
You know what? People are going to think we actually did get high for this podcast. So just to be clear, we're doing that after the show. We would have partake for all of you, but it's a little early in the day.
And just in case the Department of Transportation is watching this video, that's just a joke, by the way.
Oh, I don't give a fuck. I could have sworn they decriminalized possession. So, but fuck it, I don't care. Don V wants to know, what pirate crew would you and Eggy be affiliated with in the One Piece universe? I think for you, Eggy, because I don't know if you know too much about the crews in One Piece.
I don't.
But Big Mom, everybody in her crew is named after a food. There's like pudding, oven, I guess isn't a food, but oven. Katakuri, famous food. Mm-hmm. So I think Eggy would fit in there. What do you think?
Before knowing anything else, I agree, yeah.
Yeah.
Not even just for the egg name, but just because, people that are so into food that they name themselves after it, that's got to be my people.
She owns like 1,000 islands in its own little area, and every island specializes in making a different kind of food, and she's like just this big fat bitch woman who is constantly torturing people for food. So Eggy will join a Big Mom. For me, let's see, if I'm half monkey, half man, I would fit on Kaido's crew because he has a bunch of people who ate fake artificial devil fruits, so their bodies have become like half animal, half human, like horrible fucking homunculi freaks. So I'd probably be on the Beast Pirates or the Animal Kingdom Pirates. Eggy, Robert wants to know, with it being a few years since the release of The Feels Good Man, how do you feel about the movie and your inclusion in it, as well as Matt Furry in general? If you cannot, for any reason, answer, I think we've answered this probably 20 times before, but...
Well, no, I had a good time working on the film. They were always very respectful to me, and I did maintain communication with the producers, director, etc. for at least a couple years after the film. I was still talking to them, up until the point that my Twitter got banned. But they were originally exploring, like a sequel or like a spin-off kind of in the same vein, and they were going to, tap me to be a part of that as well, because they were just interested. Maybe something, the original cut of Feels Good Man, I played a much larger role, but then they sort of adapted the message of the movie. I don't know if it was for funding. It wasn't like they were politically... inclined against the direction that the film made. Everybody's from LA, and and what spurred the film's creation was one of Matt Fury's friends being attacked by Antifa in California because he had a Pepe the Frog tattoo that he had got back when he worked with Matt, and Antifa just went and just started swinging on him in public because of his tattoo. That was actually what spurred the idea for the film initially, but so everything, it was all good. Looking back on it, I feel like I don't really hear anybody talk about it at this point. And I feel like it probably would have had further cultural impact if they didn't kind of shoehorn the political aspect to it. I think the original direction that the film was going, where it was just about internet and memes, I feel like that would have had a greater relatability, and it would have tracked better with the memification of our culture over the last 10 to 15 years versus just oh, by the way, Drumpf. you know, and now he's, you know, he's just got his Instagram back and he's shilling NFTs again. You know, he's basically he's dried up at this point.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
I'm over it on Trump, but he got arrested and then he's like at WWE the next day. Like, what the fuck is even happening anymore? I have no clue.
So, but that's, you know, I mean, yeah, some people are gonna go back and be like, oh yeah, you know, like professors or something will be like, oh, this, you know, memes are bad, they could be dangerous because of what this movie said. Anyway, you know, it reduced itself to a footnote. It came out of the gate winning awards. It had a lot of great people working on it that did a lot of great things, but I don't regret any part of it. People still tell me that I was, you know, the best part of the film, and I say thank you for that.
Have you still not seen the whole thing? Is that a different movie that you haven't seen that you're in?
I still haven't watched the whole film. So I'm like, listen, I don't, you know, if I'm in something, if I'm actually recording it and editing it myself, I will, you know, probably watch it 1,000 times just to make sure that everything's up to level with what I'm looking at. But if I'm being a part of something else, I'll never go back and rewatch it just because
Wow.
Well, except for our videos, because I show this to my family or whatever. But
yeah, that's fair.
But otherwise, you know, like I never rewatch a live stream. I don't really.
If I was in a Hollywood movie, though, I feel like I'd be at the premiere watching that shit, and you haven't even watched it yet.
No, well, I mean, I just know what we did. You know, I know how it was for filming it, and I know what I enjoyed about that. So it's like I feel there was so much cut from what I originally did on the movie that I feel like, you know, if I do watch it, that's all I'm going to think about. And I've had people send me a lot of clips and stuff that have been posted here or there, so, you know, I know how it was, but yeah, I just sort of.
Well, if it makes you feel better, Eggy, you have the same attitude as the greatest auteurs. Brian Cox is like the lead in my current favorite TV show, Succession, and I was watching an interview, and he said he has never seen an episode of the show. He says, like, I was there filming it, you know, it was bad enough I had to be in it. You know, he's very self-deprecating in that way. But yeah, he doesn't even watch one of the greatest shows of all time that he's in. So, you're a real Brian Cox of your generation.
I feel like as a performer, I gauge the reception of the audience as my, like, number one metric as to, you know, if I'm on the pulse or not. Because if I rewatch it or whatever, you know, I don't know, it's just, I'm not feeling what the audience is feeling because I'm on the other side, you know. I'm over here, I'm the chef putting together the raw ingredients, you know. I'm seeing the raw slab of meat before it's prepared, before the seasoning and the technique and the plating. So, you know, when I'm seeing the final dish, you know, being served to a customer, I'm just, in my mind, I'm thinking of that raw meat in the vacuum seal that I'm opening, you know, raw, and that's what it's going to be in my mind. Versus, you know, the customer who saw none of the preparation, they're just receiving the product and they're gauging it based on those merits. We just look at it different ways, and so because I just don't have the same, I'm not going to look at it the same way they do. I'll see what they think, and I will basically appreciate their reception and take that as my sort of main guide to where I'm at with what I'm producing.
Well, to compare your life to a TV show yet again, Eggy, have you ever seen The Bear on Hulu?
I have not.
So it's about like this world-class chef, you know, he's top of his everything, he's making this delicious food, but like you're saying with this metaphor, you're the chef, you're making the most delicious dish, but you don't get to take a bite. It's always for somebody else. And then the character in the show, after making delicious food for people all day, he goes home and we get to see what he's like at his apartment, and he just eats fucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Like, this great chef will make himself some disgusting slop while serving out the greatest meals to everybody else. Is that how you feel? Are you like making great content for everybody to enjoy while suffering in silence?
Well, I mean, not to indicate that I make anything good, but, you know, I basically... yeah, it's, you know, like if I live stream, I don't watch any live streams. I make certain dishes for my family, or maybe I will prepare something just to see if I, you know, have the ability to make a dish successfully. If there's a dish that has some sort of difficulty to it, and I want to approach it in a way that I'm learning something and building a skill or building up a little bit of a ability of some kind, but. Yeah, that Bear Man sounds.
It's
like
a good
relatable
show. Yeah, you might like The Bear. It's a good one. Mako Horror Show wants to know, if the two of you were starring together in a buddy comedy, who would you want to write and direct it? Not Kino Corner. Don't let him touch the directing or the writing. We've all seen Wasted Hours. Let's keep him. Maybe he can help with the cinematography. Maybe.
I'm thinking Adam Sandler, Jack and Bill.
You want Adam Sandler to direct or to write it?
I'm thinking, let's get the double threat combo. I think he's got what it takes on both ends.
Adam Sandler's working with the Safdie brothers right now, which, like I was saying, Benny Safdie was just in that movie I was bitching about being full of pedophiles, but Benny Safdie was the highlight of that film, and he played a retarded person in, not Uncut Gems, in Good Time. And right now, him and Adam Sandler, they're working on their next movie. I'm hyped for that. So let's say, hypothetically, Adam Sandler's busy with the Safdie brothers. If we're going to be in a buddy comedy, before we even get the writer or director, we should probably come up with our pitch, right? Like, what would our show be about? Because we might be buddies and we might be comedic, but that does not make a good show.
We're going to get Scorsese on his final project before his retirement. We could, we could play Italians, right? We look Italian, right?
Yeah, I can be racist against them for sure. Yeah, we could get Scorsese in there. Is there, like, a comedian out there that is actually funny right now?
Shane Gillis.
Okay, I don't think I know him, but if you vouch for him.
So I'm gonna be in World Peace 2 with Sam Hyde. Maybe you know.
Yeah, just get Sam Hyde to do it. That's perfect. Fucking Sam Hyde writing and directing Eggy. I don't even have to be there.
The World Peace 2 sketch could just be our buddy comedy. Yeah, take a little.
No, don't put me in that. Those people are not gonna like me, but I'll watch Eggy be in it for sure. Okay, Sand_R_. What's the worst piece of advice you've ever given out? Probably just be yourself. No, in any depression chamber, I am truly just talking off the top of my head when I give the advice portion to the story writer. If you ever think I'm thinking before I speak, you're wrong. So any piece of advice I've ever given on that show was just literally made up, and it's probably not worth following. Eggy, can you recall a time you gave bad advice?
Yeah, when I told schizophrenic people to stop taking their medication.
That might be good advice,
well,
though.
see, that's what I thought. I'm like, the pharmaceutical industrial complex, we need to... It's a revolution. We're not taking these pills anymore. Turns out I don't really have, because I told people, like, stop taking antidepressants and all those things, too. Because I think those really don't. I think you gotta get vitamin D, maybe a cup of tea, and, you just get out there, touch grass.
I'll say some of the biggest and most obvious mistakes I've made in my life were while I was on those fucking SSRIs, and life did improve once I quit them. So I think that's good advice, Eggy.
Yeah. See, so I'll stick by that. But I don't really, I told schizophrenic people to stop taking their medication, and their lives started going really wrong, and I didn't really know, like, I don't know, they were touching grass, but they were also, like, eating out of dumpsters, and, like,
you gotta get your food somewhere, Eggy. Goodness gracious. So judgmental against these dumpster diving folk. I thought you were a fan of, Anxiety War. Come on.
Well, and also, I do still advocate for a frugal lifestyle and dumpster diving. I used to dumpster dive all the time when I first moved out. Yeah, I was eating out of garbage cans on the regular. But you just had to know, after dark, you didn't want it to be above a certain temperature. Certain things had to be in certain packaging. You want to, if something leaked, or whatever, okay, go wash it. Maybe you might have to cook something that you wouldn't normally cook just to make sure that you weren't going to die. But aside from the schizophrenic medication, when I told people to stop taking it, the worst received advice that I ever gave that I can remember is when I gave my advice for getting over anxiety, because this is what worked for me was I would go to really busy bars and nightclubs and sit there by myself just to force myself to be in this high volume, very rowdy, loud atmosphere to sort of help me acclimate a little bit and get over my anxiety that way. And then it's like, also, if I was doing that and I felt nervous or panicked or whatever, because when I first started doing that when I was 21 years old, I didn't have really a cell phone at that time. I had still a flip phone. I didn't have a smartphone until I was 23. So, I couldn't just sit there and look at your phone like everybody does these days.
You gotta sit there and stare at people across the bar?
I did, but when it felt awkward or whatever, then I would get a beer and I would just kind of sip the beer, because I could do that when I'm 21, and then that would be an anxiety relief or whatever, and I'd kind of feel, at least for me, I kind of got in the mood of it, and then I would, when I would leave, I would just kind of ruminate on the good aspects of it, like, oh, see, that wasn't so bad because boom, and whatever. And so I'd go out, and I never really had great experiences with people still, but it was a way for me to just sort of get over some of the hurdles. I didn't get those, because panic attacks are real, and it's like being there.
Fuck yeah, they are.
It's like...
Haven't you seen the Puss in Boots movie, dude? Oh, I've never seen you see all the discourse about the Puss in Boots movie. Everybody's like, oh, I've never seen a panic attack on screen. This is the greatest movie ever made. Oh
Take my
God.
upvote. Oh my goodness, it looked like heckin' anime and all representation.
It's like, I've had a panic attack before. You're breathing hard and your fucking limbs go numb and start tingling. You don't see fucking anime colors and shit flashing around, okay? It's not like the fucking cartoon at all. You all need to shut the hell up. But go ahead.
Some of that medication they're taking, if you just stop taking all your medication, you're probably... the side effects, you're thinking that you're seeing all these colors and things like that, but that's just...
Yeah, if you're having an acid trip, you're not having a panic attack, dude. I'm sorry.
That's why you should talk to your doctors and physicians before starting medication, and you should talk to them and say, I'm not starting it. Yeah, you know what?
But so why are you saying this was bad advice, that people should not throw themselves into like a bar social situation that they're uncomfortable with? Don't you just jump into the pool to get over it being cold?
Right, well, see, I gave the advice, and I thought it was good advice, but it was the only advice that I can remember posting on YouTube to where it was like actually like really downvoted and disagreed with. And people are like, listen, if you can even think about going to the bar, you're a normie, and you could never understand what true anxiety really is, because somebody with true anxiety would never even think about going to the bar. And I'm like, okay, well, you get step, all right, then just start with going outside. Oh, well, why would I go outside? That's for normies anyway. And
why do they want to go to the fucking bar?
Well, no,
there's nothing to do at a bar. If you're a kid out there who thinks you're gonna turn 21 and have this great bar life, you might. But most likely, you're gonna realize this shit's boring as fuck. You're gonna go sit there to pay $12 for a drink you could have at home for free? I think not.
Well, I mean, to be fair, this pretty much was unsolicited advice. It was just, people were just telling me, oh, I have anxiety and I wish there's something I could do about it. And I would say, okay, well, I overcame certain things. There was times when I was young where I was like super hyper anxious, and and we didn't even have, people would tell me when they were in high school they would go sit like in the high school bathroom or whatever
for lunch.
Yeah, and that was like the way to. But we didn't have that. We had guards around the bathrooms of our high school, so you couldn't go into the bathroom, or they would like check you at the door or whatever, and you couldn't be in there for more than like a few minutes.
Now, is there a story behind why there are guards at the bathroom stalls?
Well, from what I understand, so I was in high school in the late 2000s. From what I understand, at that high school, I don't know exactly what year maybe, but for a while they would just let people leave the campus. They'd say, okay, it's lunchtime, you can go to your car, whatever the case might be.
Back when we had freedom in this country?
Yeah, so I think, but I guess whatever it was, people were leaving, not coming back to school. People were going out and maybe smoking cigarettes or marijuana in their vehicle. Whatever it was, there was too much going on where they decided, hey, let's try 1 year. Let's say you can't leave anymore because we're just going to see if there's any difference. And like all the negative things immediately dropped down to like zero when they stopped letting people leave.
I said, fuck it. We took away those freedoms. Let's take away some more and see how good it goes. Let's put guards on the bathrooms.
So when I was in high school, I had to sit at lunch at a table by myself every single day for every year that I was in school. I would sit there, and there would only be one like large table available, and then so I'd sit down at this large table, and every person would come and just, once I sat down, they would come and take all the other chairs away from the table to bring to their tables.
For real?
Yep.
How big was your school? You didn't have one friend in your high school at all?
Well, I had guys that I used to commit crime with, but we were more like...
That counts as friends, dude. Most of my friends I just commit crimes with, dude. Are you kidding me?
I had my fellow gang members, but when they got arrested and expelled...
Oh, no.
Pretty much after freshman year... So, I mean, like in...
Wow, all your friends got arrested freshman year. God damn. That's rough, dude. I'm sorry, man.
So then, I mean, I still went and, I still got into some things my sophomore year, but really, like, sophomore into junior year, that's when I just logged on the computer, and I'm like, this is what's up now. So, and here we are.
Yeah, I guess as much as I might shit on Biggs, I do have to admit, at least we had each other in high school. If only Eggy could have gone back in time and transferred to our school, we could have been the three amigos causing our own havoc out there. But let's see what else we got in here. Literally Me says, can we get a car review from you and Eggy? I especially want to hear about Eggy's mishaps through the decades with his vehicles. You got a good car mishap to tell?
Yeah, let's talk about, so my new vehicle that I bought 3 months ago, it's finally functional. So, a few months ago, I actually got into an accident about 6 months ago with my vehicle that I've been driving for a while, and the vehicle, it had 220,000 miles on it. It needed like a whole lot of new things. It needed a lot of work already. So after I got in the accident, I just really didn't want to put all the money into it because it was going to be thousands of dollars. Like, I'm just not really feeling that.
That's more than the car is worth. Fuck that.
Yeah, exactly. The car's worth about $500.
Yeah.
So I'm like, all right, you know what? I should just get a new vehicle. So I went looking around for a few months, and I saw a couple tantalizing options. But then I was told by somebody, they told me, said, well, you don't buy from a dealer. You know, the dealers, they're just going to try to squeeze every penny out of you can. You should look for a good private seller. I'm like, okay, so boom, boom, boom. I looked and I looked and I saw different things and they just weren't panning out. But then I saw one and it was like a great situation. It was a nice vehicle and it was like $4,000, $4,000 to $5,000 below the Blue Book price. Because the guy basically was an
suspiciously good price.
It was an older man who lived with his wife, and they each had a vehicle. And I think his mother-in-law basically was developing Alzheimer's or something. She wasn't supposed to be driving anymore, but she had a vehicle that was nicer than his or the wife's vehicle, whatever it was. So they only needed 2 vehicles, and this one they were basically going to need the mother-in-law to live with them. And they were going to take her vehicle, and they said, all right, well, let's get rid of our worst vehicle then. So, which was the one that I was going to purchase. So I was like, okay, well, it all adds up. You know, like, I go to sign the paperwork. He's there with his wife. Mother-in-law's there. She looks like she's not all there in the head. You know, they got all the vehicles.
You think that about most women, don't you?
Okay, but I mean, but for this time, for real, you know.
Whoa!
we weren't, you know, there's differences between elderly dementia
levels of female retardation.
Social media induced TikTok, apathy, lethargy. This is just your brain mass shutting down.
This is the average woman pre-TikTok.
Yeah.
Back when the IQ could level out at like 60. Oops.
Well, so anyways, you know, I paid cash, and I'm like, wow, what a great deal. I mean, it seemed to run just fine. And I had it for 24 hours. And I was like, oh, you know, I got off work early the next day. So I was like, oh, I never get off work when McDonald's is still open. I'm going to go treat myself to a McDonald's hamburger. So I go and the drive-through, you know, it's being staffed by like a 12-year-old because that's normal. So they don't know how to do my mobile app. So I go and I park. And I go inside and I, you know, do it on the kiosk in there or whatever for my order. Boom. So I get my order. I go back and I start the vehicle and it just starts smoking. And I'm like,
it's not, day after you got it?
It's not starting and it is smoking. So basically, long story short, after a tow trip, that vehicle, the starter had just gone out. And very unfortunate, you know, it only happens basically, you need to replace it like once in a vehicle's lifetime. It's like once every 150,000 miles or something. So
you got incredibly unlucky on that.
Yeah, basically as unlucky as possible.
Yes.
So then I had that replaced, and that was about like $600 or something, I think, all together with, or maybe that was with the tow too, but anyways, so boom, all right, well, a little hiccup, but hey, no big deal because I was still so below the price. So then I go and I pick up the vehicle literally from the auto body shop, and I drive it to the end of the parking lot, and the vehicle dies in the parking lot of the establishment. So I'm able to get it to turn over, and I just drive it back in the spot, and I'm like, hey, it just died again, you know. So it turns out that they had like... there was something that when they went to connect it, they didn't actually... There was something they were supposed to connect, and they didn't connect because they forgot. And then they said, oh, actually, so when we went to go connect it, we also happened to notice that the engine is ruined. So that's going to cost, you know, thousands of dollars. So the engine might have already been ruined. I don't know. That auto shop might have ruined it because I just don't know. Like, there was really no way for me to know. But the engine probably... It seemed like... and now it wasn't brand new by any means anyway. You know, it had like 100 and some thousand miles on it. So, anyways,
is this what people mean when they say like buying a lemon? Like you buy a new car and then like it completely falls apart immediately?
Well, I think so. I mean, this could possibly be why it was listed for like $4,000 lower than what it would have normally cost.
Because he knew it was gonna break down on your drive home. Like what? Did these motherfuckers know they were selling you a car with a broken starter and engine?
I just don't know how they could have known the starter because like, but the thing is that I know things about cars, but I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know like, oh well, I can tell that the starter, because that just doesn't really. It's just something that just eventually happens, and it wasn't. It was in the ballpark of when it could possibly fail, because it was like it's possible that it could have. It wasn't totally outside the realm of possibility. The engine, it could have been a freak accident, maybe something, because you just don't like you're not going and opening the engine like that to check these things. Yeah. Until it happens, which then it did happen. So anyways, then it took 2 months to be able to get the proper engine. But then, hey, there you go. I mean, basically, so now I got a car with 30,000 miles on it. So it's gonna have like 200,000 more miles on it. And basically, at the end of the day, I pretty much paid sticker price, I guess, of what it should have been.
After all the repairs?
Yeah. So then everything's so good, and oh my goodness, I'm back on the road, and it's the 31st, and I'm driving, and there's a little snowstorm going on, but hey, no big deal. I'm driving through the snowstorm, all of a sudden the car dies. And I had it with the new engine for 3 days, and they're like, oh yeah, it might have been, maybe the engine we got was bad. We don't really know. We'll have to look at it, and we don't know if it's under warranty or not, so we'll have to just look at it. So it gets towed back for 2 more weeks. And it turned out that the used engine that the auto shop had bought and put in the vehicle had like aftermarket modification, and apparently they just couldn't tell this. So they noticed that basically what had happened was that they had set it up in a way that didn't accommodate this modification, because they had no idea that there was any modification to it, because when it was sold to them, they were. So it's like, what I'm really getting away from all this is that everything to do with cars is a complete scam. Mm-hmm. Everybody is literally just trying to fucking fuck everybody else over. They're just trying to rob each other constantly. But anyways, I will say the auto shop, they basically fixed up the engine, fixed all the problems, put everything together, and they towed it back and forth, which was about 20 miles each way, for free. So it would have cost probably another $1,000, but they gave me that.
Well, it's the least they can do after basically not fixing your shit 3 times in a row. I mean,
so once again, it's running fantastic. 30,000 miles on it, so it's got like 200,000, before it kicks the dust. And really, I just ended up paying sticker price when it was all said and done. So I was very frustrated to have to basically have it out of my possession immediately after buying it for 3 months, to have it just get dicked around with. But compared to my Pontiac literally, I mean, I think the bumper has been scraping the ground for about 7 years, and literally it's like chunks. I mean, literally I duct taped the headlight in, and it was like that for years at least. It fell out into the highway. I let it sit one time for 6 months, and all I had to do was put a new battery in it, and it just still ran, and for another like 2 years or so.
So your shit box, it gives you a lot less problems than the brand new car, Eggy. Yeah. Maybe you shouldn't have traded up. Well, it's like the guy who has like a 1 out of 10 really ugly GF, but she's really good at sucking his dick, and then he has a chance with a 4 out of 10. Finds out she uses her teeth. Maybe the 1 out of 10 was the answer all along, Eggy. If you want to get that proper dick suck, I may concede that eventually. I'm gonna hope that if this on your drive home, your car might break down again. Like, we're wishfully thinking right now, but you haven't had it that long, have you? No. Like I said, I just signed the title about exactly 3 months ago to the day. Yeah, but how long have you been driving it since it was last fixed again? So I probably put about 400 miles on it. Oh, so yeah, the next breakdown's on the way. Well, Eggy, we've hit full podcast time. We have a lot of questions left. I'll ask you, should we do another episode? Not right now, but maybe later after some festivities, or maybe tomorrow. should we do a part 2 to this question episode?
I think it's good. I think if a little festivities happen and we wrap up the questions, I think we could probably take an hour on that very easily. I'm guessing.
Well, I mean, we're gonna leave the house to go festivize a little
Colorado,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah. So check back in this time next week for more Patreon questions with Eggy. Maybe we'll do some other stuff. We're planning on making a snack testers with some exotic meats later today.
Oh, yeah.
So expect that in your sub box soon. Eggy, do you have anything you want to plug for this episode?
Not really, because last time I streamed on LSMS Fitness, I had bad connection, and it's just like the most recent stream archive on there is like a half of a stream, like chopped into 2 broken parts. It's basically my channel's not decent right now. I gotta get on there and kind of clean it up, put a nice stream on there. So until next time, just wait patiently, bide. BG Cumby movie filming soon. World Peace 2 episode filming soon.
And they're voting you into the fish tank right now, right?
I don't know. I don't know about that. I haven't heard that. But Kino Corner texted me and said that he's writing a new movie that I'm gonna play a big part in. So.
Wow, everybody just wants you to star in their movies, Eggy. God damn.
But we're not starring in any Safety Brother movies.
Safety Brother?
Yeah, we're not right now. They're on the sicko meter right now after I had to see that shit last night.
Hey, it's not Benny Safdie's fault that Judy Bloom wrote this sicko movie. He played the role of funny Jewish dad perfectly.
Did Judy Bloom have in the book where the husband is a porn addict that neglects
He
his
must
loving
have!
wife?
It had to have been in the book because it was so normalized. Oh yeah, my dad has a subscription to porn and we're gonna look at it together. This is a children's... whatever, we've been through
All
this.
I'm saying is that I'm not accepting any Safdie Brothers roles until he denounces porn addiction.
For the Safdie brothers, I've been Benny.
I have been...
You've been Hannah.
Eggy Rodriguez.
See you next time, folks.
Adios.